The spread operator in the ES6 is easy to overlook. However, it is incredibly powerful. Now, what the spread operator does? Well, it converts an array to a list of items. Now, like I said, it sounds very simple. However, it is very, very powerful. So let's start looking at what we can do with a spread operator. Well, first, let's have a look how we can copy the array with a spread operator. So if we would have an array, and we can just say random. So this would be some random values. And here, this is going to be set equal to array. So we have like something, and let's just call random. So two variables over here. So two values in the array. Next, let's create another array. However, we're going to call this more random, and we're going to set it equal to random. Now we would think that we're copying the array because we have one array and we're just setting equal to another one. However, since the arrays are objects, we are copying reference. Now what it means. So let's say if I'm going to have a more random and the first value, which in the random array would be something, I'm going to say this is going to be special. So something random. Now I need to set it equal actually to 0 and then to the value. So let me write special. And once I have the special, let's check it out what we have for the random and for the more random. So let's do console log random. Let's do the random array. And let's also have a look at a more random array. More random. And you notice that once we console log it, well, first of all, you notice that I misspelled it. Random over here. And now let's see what we have. And both of them have the first value in array as a special. So we didn't copy the values from the array. We copied the reference, and then now that we have copied the reference, we can change both of them. And obviously that's not what we want whenever we want to copy the array. So let's look at how we can copy the array with a spread operator and how much more easier it is. So let's just again comment this out so it's not in our way, and let's look at how we can do this with a spread operator. So first, let's create a array of numbers. Now the numbers array is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So the values are going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to create a const of values. So this is going to be the values, and then we're going to use a spread operator. So here we're going to have a square brackets, and then we're going to have 3 dots. Now once we have the 3 dots, then we're going to write what array we would want to pass over here. So in our case, we're going to pass numbers, and let's check it out what we have. Now before we do that, let's do values, and we know that we can do push method for the array, and let's add 5. And the push method is going to add the value, whatever we're passing inside the method, to the end of the array. So we're adding a 5 to the end of a values array. And if we had a previous selection, then we would add whatever value we're adding within a push method to the end of both arrays because we copied the reference. We didn't copy the values. So let's do log, and let's see what we have. Numbers, and also let's copy and paste, and let's look at the values. And hopefully everything is working correctly. And sure enough, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would be numbers. And then we have a 5, which would be for the values. Now, it might look simple, however, it does help us a lot whenever we're working with arrays. So let's keep on looking what else the spread operator helps us doing. Well, first of all, we can combine the arrays. So let's do again console log, and maybe again before we do this, let me just comment out, and let's do a const of names. So names, and names is going to be equal to a John. Then we're going to set it equal to Peter. So Peter is going to be the second value, and then we're going to have Bob. Now, once we have the first array, now let's create another array of more names. So this would be norm names. However, in here, we're going to have an array, and we're going to say that the first item in the array is going to be Susie, but then we're going to use the spread operator to add all the values from the names array. So we're going to say names. So as you can see that, again, it converts an array to a list of items. So we grabbed an array, then we convert it to the list of items, and let's see what we have right now. So we're going to have console log names, and also let's do more names. So more names, and sure enough, there is John, Peter, Bob, and then once we added Susie, and then we just grabbed all the values from the names array, and now we have the double array. And also we can combine the both arrays all together. So we can just say even more names, even more names, and this is going to be equal to a names array. So we can just say names. So again, 3 dots. Then we're going to have a comma, and then another values from a more names. So more names. And then if we would want to add something, let's say in the middle or on the end or in the beginning, we can again do 2 commas. And then here we're going to write that this is going to be Amanda. And let's again console log. So copy and paste. And let's write that this is going to be even more and names. And hopefully everything works fine. We have John, Peter, Bob. And then over here we have Susie, John, Peter. And here it says empty. And the reason why it's empty, because I have added an extra comma. So once I save it, then we have John, Peter, Bob, and the Amanda that we added, and even more names array. So we can combine the arrays. We can add them 2 in 1 or whatever we would like. And the great thing about the spread operator is the fact that we're not modifying the original array. We're just grabbing the items from the array, and then we're creating new arrays. So in that case, if I ever need to go back and look for the original array of names, I can always find them, and the indexes are always going to stay the same. Now let's look at how we can work with a spread operator to transfer the node list into actual array. Now, node list we're going to be getting back if we remember whenever we were working with the DOM. If we used a query selector all, we would be getting back a node list. While getting back the node list is not a big deal, however, if we want to use the array methods like filter or map, there's going to be a problem because node list is not an array. Now, in Google Chrome, we can use the for each. There's actually some browsers that we cannot use the for each on a node list. So we would have to convert the node list to an array. Now, how we would do this? Well, first of all, in the index.html, you notice that I have an example. I have 3 list items. They have all classes, so list item. One of them has a class of special. And I would just want to look with this class of special with an array method of filter. So let's go back to app.js. Maybe again, let's comment this out and let's see what we have. So first, again, I don't want to delete this. And first we would want to use a document query selector all. So we're going to have const list document query selector all. And for the query selector all, we're going to be getting back a list item. So dot and list item over here. Let me save this and we'll notice that console log is empty. And now let's see what we have. So we have a list, and like I said, we have a node list. And just to prove to you that we're not going to be able to use filter, let's do something like const and special. And for the special, we're going to say list filter. And for now, let's just write that we would just want to, I don't know, console log the item. Because we know that this is not going to work. We can use the arrow function. We can use the regular anonymous function. It doesn't really matter. We can just write over here that maybe return an item. And let's say class list and contains. So I'm looking for the item that contains the class list of special. So the class of special. So here we're going to have a quotation marks and we're looking for a class of special. Now, once I'm going to save it, you notice that it's going to be complaining that list filter is not a function because this is a node list. This is not an array. So how we would fix this? So again, we would use the array spread operator. So in our case, we're just going to have a square brackets. Then in the beginning of the document query selector all, we're just going to change this to 3 dots. And notice what happens. Now, first of all, it's going to be complaining that it contains. We're going to fix this. Don't worry about it. However, notice that right now, whenever list we have, it's going to be 3 list items. Notice we have a list item, and this is not anymore a node list. So we can use a filter. However, now we need to decide what is happening. So we have item, class list, and then we're going to use the contains. And my bug over here is the fact that I didn't use the capital L. So let me go back, let me save this. And now we should have a special that has the class of special. So let's do again console log and let's look for a special. And sure enough, now we have a list item special. So now if we would want to, we could add, I don't know, a different color or different styling, whatever we would want. My point is that we can use the spread operator to transfer the node list that we're getting back with a query selector all, or if we're selecting by a tag names, and transfer them into an array. Now, once it's transferred into array, we can use all the array methods that are available to us. Now, once we have looked at a spread operator and a node list, now let's look at how we can use the spread operator to pass a parameters in a function. So first, let's create a function. So let's say that this is going to be a function with a name of add, and then we're going to be adding a 4 numbers. So let's say num1, num2, num3, and num4 over here. Now, these are going to be my parameters. Now here within a function body, we're going to have a let result. So the variable of result is going to be equal to all the parameters added together. So num2, num3, and over here, this is going to be the num4. Now, once we have added, I would also want to return the result. So we'll return the result. And here we're going to do a result, which is going to be equal to a variable. So as we're adding the function, now let's check it out how I can use the spread operator. So first, let's have it a variable of const result, and we're going to set it equal to the function that we just created, which would be the function of add. Now, if I'm just going to grab this array that we created before with a numbers, this is not going to work. So if I'm just going to say, first of all, let's uncomment the numbers. So let me find where is the numbers, and let's uncomment this. So let's try to add a numbers array over here directly. And once we save it, and once we're going to console log it, let's see what we have. So this would be the result. Now over here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have 4 undefined. So obviously this is not going to be working. However, if I'm going to use again a spread operator, I can pass them as the values. So let me just again create a square brackets, or you know what, I don't need the square brackets. Let me just create 3 dots, and then we're just going to have it as a numbers. And sure enough, right now the value is 10, because again, what we're doing is we're converting array into a list of items, and then we can use these items. So as you can see, the more and more we work with a spread operator, the more powerful it turns out to be. Now the last thing, let's have a look at how we can convert a string to an array. So first let's do a string, so const letters, and this is going to be equal to hello there. So this is going to be my string. However, here we're going to create a new array, and this is going to be array, and we're going to again use a spread operator. We're going to have 3 dots, and then we're going to have letters. So in this case, this is not an array, this is a string. And let's see what we have. So we're going to have log and array. And you notice that each and every letter in the string is transferred as an item of an array. And again, we can do all kind of manipulations, whatever we would like. And all this is possible because of a spread operator in the ES6.